Finally, we're going to put this back into that. Welcome to Hack-A-Week. I have had more comments on this channel regarding how to put this engine back into this frame than I think any other topic ever. Not to mention the 10 or 12 emails I've gotten. They all say the same thing. Just lay the engine on its side, take the frame, put it over the engine, tip it back up, and I suppose I could do it that way. But in the Hack-A-Week spirit, I can't go by just the normal do it that way. I have to figure out my way. And my way may or may not work here today, but I've got an idea how to put this back in without having to go through all of that rigmarole. And it seems to be that this is probably the biggest pain in the ass about restoring one of these, is getting the engine back in there, especially if you've got a painted frame, because you could scratch the frame and that's no fun after all the hard work you took to paint it. This one is powder coated, not quite as prone to being scratched up. But, well, anyway, we've got to get the valve cover back on here first and a few other items, and then we'll go for it and see if my idea is going to work. We have a few more things to put into the valve cover. We've got the caps that go over the valve adjusters, and there's a O-ring that goes on each one of those, and I've got a seal that goes in here for the tachometer drive, and of course all of the bolts are there, and I've got a gasket to go on. So first we'll put the tach drive seal in. Well, it looks like the old one is still in there. I think I can probably just fish it out of there with a hook tool. Yeah, pretty easy. So there's that junk. We'll just use a rag and a screwdriver, twist that around. Just get the junk out of there. That looks pretty good. On the new seal, there's a side that's all flat, and then there's a side that has a recess in it. The recessed side goes in first. The flat side sticks out. We'll push that in there. You can probably just use a small socket to push it all the way in. It should go pretty easy. Flip it over and look at it on the back side here and make sure it's in all the way. It's got a little ways to go yet. Give it a little tap here with a dead blow hammer on the socket. Drive it in there the rest of the way. Okay, I think we're good to go there. Now that we have the seal in there, we need to put the actual tach drive gear in. I'm going to put a little bit of some grease in this area right here, that little ridge, and we'll poke this through. Just drop it in like that. Give it a push. And we have a retainer right here. This little part catches on that ridge. This little part goes right there, and that's what locks this 6mm bolt into place. And it goes on there just like that. Now we'll tighten that bolt up. I'm not going to bother with the torque wrench. I'm just going to do it by feel. That looks good. Now there's a little tab right there. Right there, that little tab gets bent up against the side of this bolt, and that's what keeps it from dropping out. We wouldn't want that to happen, because then you would have this little part bouncing around inside the engine. Gotta find a suitable pair of pliers here to bend that with. There we go. Give you another shot of that so you can see what I did. You can see how it's just bent up around the nut. So it's going to hold the bolt, it's going to hold the bolt in place. And of course I'm going to do my usual thing with the gasket sealer. Optional. I just like to put it on as a bit of insurance, as I've mentioned a million times in these videos. Okay, let's drop this onto the cylinder head. Gasket's just kind of stuck there. Try to line it up the best I can ahead of time. Just wanting to shift around a little bit because it was distorted in the packaging. Be careful it doesn't move, and you might have to wiggle the drive gear a little bit for the tachometer to make sure that it actually goes into place. What I probably should do here is back up a little bit, pull this off, leave the gasket in place, and drop it down onto the alignment dowels. There we go. I think that's going to be a little easier that way. Okay, now we'll go for the valve cover on the top. Let's see if the gear is engaged. There we go. There it is. It's there. We'll torque all these up. Just get them snug first everywhere. Try to use a crosshatch pattern just like you did with the cylinder head. Okay, now we can put this cover on and torque these last 3 bolts. Now this just has an O-ring that slips into a slot all the way around. Oops. Now we're ready to put the valve adjuster caps in. Hors d'oeuvres, anyone? Ha! I've got these smeared with a little bit of silicone dielectric grease, all of the O-rings, just to help them slip and slide a little bit easier when we tighten them up. We're just going to put all these in, get them all started first, then we'll tighten them later. This is a 16mm socket. Doesn't quite fit. This is a 17mm socket. It fits, but a little loose, so they're a little weird. I think that Honda did that on purpose. I don't know. It's kind of strange that they are like that. Maybe they made them the same size as the spark plug wrench. That's a possibility. Anyway, let's go ahead and tighten these up. They don't have to be really tight. I suppose just for consistency's sake, I can torque all these to 15 foot-pounds. It seems plenty tight to me. Alright, here's the plan. I've got this giant board thingy made up that I'm going to strap to the engine. And it's going to take 2 people, and we're going to lift the thing in there. So here's the trick. You got to put this in first because of the width of the handles, and then you got to get the engine up as close as you can. Got to raise it a little bit, a little closer. Oh, it's just got to go a little more. Okay, that should let me get that on there. Okay, you can see where I've got all these pieces. There's a shim right there. I'll give you all the dimensions on this in a while, provided that it actually works. I think it's going to work. We'll find out. It's going to take 2 people, so I'm going to wait until my assistant gets home. But right now what I got to do is strap around the head right here. That's going to hold it this way. Then I'm going to run a strap under the engine and around each side of this. The idea is that you've got a lever here, like a T-handle, that you can actually be able to control the tilt of the engine, I hope. I'm not sure where it's going to balance out at this point. Center of gravity, who knows where it is on this engine. There's a lot of weight here, there's a lot of weight here. I'm hoping that the center of gravity is pretty close to right here. So now I just need to strap all this stuff in place, and we'll see if it's going to work. I don't know. Okay, everything is strapped up good and tight. I've got it strapped here, got it strapped around the engine. We tried lifting it once already, and it looks like it lifts up pretty much right on the center of gravity. It's okay, we got total control. It doesn't want to flop one way or another too much. I've got a floor jack underneath the frame here, so once we get in there we should be able to just drop it down and let it sit on the floor jack. It goes in this side of the frame, and then there's some brackets that go on afterwards, but what I'm after is just to get it in there and set it on the floor jack. Then I can raise and lower the floor jack, and we can get some bolts in and actually mount it to the frame. So, you ready?
Ready.
All right. Here we go. Up and then easy into the frame. That's all right. You can take a break. Just keep going over, and then you may have to drop your side down a little bit. So you got to go that way a little.
Okay.
Binding up somewhere. Yeah.
Right there
Yeah.
in that spot. So which way do we need to turn it?
You need to probably go back that way a little bit.
We're moving.
It's all right. It should go. Try not lifting up as much on your side, maybe.
I think it's this. This
Oh.
is too tall.
Yep. Okay. Stop right there. It's the piece of wood. Aha! Okay, we can make quick work of this with the sawzall. So I'll go this way. That's going to do the trick. Okay, let's try this one more time. Just lift up a little. Going your way. Hold on. We got about. Okay. Looks like it's got a twist like this a little bit. There's
Okay.
a piece over on this side behind me. There it goes. Wow.
Okay, one more question. What if this were to go down a little bit? And then that would take it this way?
You can. It's just, it's binding up on things.
Because it's a millimeter.
Some of it's back here too. The engine's
Yeah.
actually. Let's see. Looks like the whole engine's kind of tilted like this right now.
Yeah.
But we got to get past that. That's the main thing that's holding us up. Let's see if I can just get in here and throw a little brute force at it.
There you go.
That's all it took. Okay. Now let's see what we got. Over this. Okay, good. Ooh, good. Almost got the front one lined up. Now the whole thing has to rotate like
Oh,
that.
there you go.
Okay.
I'm completely lined up on both of these sides.
That's the one I want. This is the one I want to put in there. And lined up over there on that side.
You shifted a little bit.
Hang on a minute. Let me run this one through too. Raise the jack up just a little bit. A little more. Right there. Let me get a hammer.
Get with a hammer. It's through.
That one's through. And how are we doing on this one? There it goes. Look at that. It worked. That wasn't so bad, and I still say it's easier than laying it on its side and having to lift the damn thing back up. Not to mention all the potential damage you could do to the side and the covers and having to deal with all that crap. Yay!
Yay!
High five! Now I just need to get all this crap off from here, which means I gotta disassemble the whole thing. Getting the straps back out is kind of fun. I was a little worried for a second there about the hook, but I'm actually able to get it out. So that's that. I'm going to take the one off up top here. You notice I put cardboard on the fins just to give me a little extra reinforcement so that those fins didn't cut into the nylon, which they potentially could have done. Now all I need to do is remove a couple of screws here. And then we take that out. I put this piece back in so I can show you something. That piece that's in the middle has a notch in it. That notch lines up right here where there is a bolt that goes between the cylinder head and the cylinders. And to do this whole thing, you have to take out the cam chain tensioner and the oil pressure sending unit. And then you just put that right there on that notch and you can strap it right to the head. Now underneath, down here, there's this block of wood that's probably, oh, I don't know, it's maybe an inch, inch and 3/4, I would guess. I'll measure that in a minute, but that goes underneath there so that you can crank this down tight and it sets evenly. Otherwise it would tend to push down on this side too much. So here's the jig that I made. This measures 4 feet in this direction. These pieces are about 2 feet long, and you just mount them to the center. 2 3-inch drywall screws there. This piece I put just a little bit off center, I think. It's about 24 inches would be okay. And then this piece, you can just put it on the bike and about line up where it needs to go. It does sit back just a little bit away from the edge. It's not flush with the edge. It's back maybe 3/8 of an inch. And the thickness of it is, yep, 1 3/4 inches will do the trick. So there you go. The wooden thingy that puts engines into Honda CB750s quite easily. Actually, just 2 people and we did it. And don't forget to add that little notch there so that you clear the frame. How about that? Oh yeah, there's some weight to that baby now. Awesome. Now it's starting to look like a motorcycle, isn't it? Pretty happy to have that thing in there, and did it with just a few 2x4s, no big deal, no engine hoist, no laying it on its side. You know, could have done it that way, but this is Hack a Week. This is where we do things different. And then of course we have Seamus helping out all the time, inspecting things and making sure it goes right. Right, Seamus? Well, we'll move on next time with bolting everything in and finishing up on all of the mounting that has to go on. There's a few more bolts that go in place. There's brackets on the other side, and the foot pegs go on one of those bolts I put through. And Seamus the cat is probably going to park his ass on the seat if I put it back on. And now that the engine's on it, he can go for a ride here in the shop, an imaginary ride anyway. Right, Seamus? Good boy. All right, well, thanks for watching. Thanks for the donations. And until next time. Enough wood sticking through. Let's try that one again.